Hi, I'm Gabe.
I'm Kelley.
Vashitta. So I guess the slogan for today is just do it, right?
Just do it.
Just do it, Nike. I am elated to see how they unveiled the campaign ad for Colin Kaepernick, and like as you can see, all the white supremacists came out in droves, pissed.
Cutting up stuff they've already paid for.
Right. Why not? A lot of people were saying, why not just donate it to those who need things? Okay.
It's unreal.
Exactly.
You know, a beautiful ad campaign.
Absolutely.
You know,
They also have one with Serena Williams, right?
Oh, I love that one with her father.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
In that cat suit that she's not allowed to wear.
That's been worn before on a white woman, but I mean, black women with curves can't wear the same thing, I guess.
Oh, she just looks too good. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great story that has come out this week. And I think just seeing the opposite sides of everyone's opinions has been very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be the cynic just because that's my role sometimes. And I mean, Nike is good at what they do. They're definitely good at like capitalizing on like the momentum of something and like making a statement. But like in 2015, they also offered a discount to like law enforcement. So
yeah, there is that teeter-totter that people have with Nike. Also, maybe they're trying to redeem themselves right now.
I mean, that's a noble idea.
Yeah,
that's the hope. But
I saw a tweet from a veteran who said that he's going to keep wearing his Nike U.S. Army boots because apparently they do issue footwear for law enforcement.
I didn't know that.
But and he was saying that he's wearing his Nike Army boots because they've fought for the right for people to have free expression. And so he supports Colin Kaepernick, which I think is great.
I've seen nothing but support from veterans and those who are actively deployed or still in the military. Like I haven't seen the opposition yet.
Right.
Have y'all seen that Beto O'Rourke in Texas was asked about the Colin Kaepernick?
No.
Yeah, I mean, he's running against Ted Cruz, so I'm on his side personally. Also,
I did see that. It was an amazing speech.
Yeah, he's like, it's regardless of like what you like feel, we're all American. Like if you're opposing Kaepernick, if you're like in favor, like we're like we can all be on different sides of this issue and still be just as American as each other. So
right.
I think it was a very diplomatic answer.
Yeah.
And I also really appreciate all of the anti-ads of Beto O'Rourke, like just making him turn out to be like just a very attractive punk rock man. I'm like, yeah, okay. Oh, this ad ends with the Ted Cruz? Sure, okay. Don't you love it when the opposition just runs ads that work in your favor?
Right.
I'm both kind of glad and jealous that our U.S. Senate race is much more calm.
I mean,
that it's not
exactly.
close.
But I mean, who really likes Ted Cruz, anyways?
Nobody likes Ted
Cruz.
Okay. It's just really fun to watch him like campaign like he's a nobody.
Right.
It's delightful.
Yeah. So yeah, the Ted Cruz supporters of the world.
They exist like, where
losing their mind. Burning their Nikes and cutting the swoosh off their own shorts
that they've already paid for. We have to keep reiterating that.
Right.
Yeah. I think Nike's just like an interesting company to study with like what they've done as far as like being on both sides of an issue. Because I mean, there was like that, was it late 90s? No, late 80s, early 90s where they like got a lot of Beatles songs or Michael Jackson songs.
Yeah.
And nobody was happy about that. They're like revolution from the Beatles. And just like, but you're a capitalist giant.
Right.
And you use a lot of sweatshop labor.
Well, the famous quote that I kept seeing come up was from Michael Jordan, who said that he was staying out of politics because Republicans buy shoes also. And I think that's a marker to me of how much we've changed from that sort of 80s 90s just sell as many products as you can to yes, Nike's a giant corporation, but they're taking a very strong stance in this, which I completely support. But we're seeing Trump go after LeBron James. And
how dare
LeBron James is actually speaking out though, and that's what I admire about him. He does not hold back, and so Michael Jordan's statement kind of
wasn't Michael Jordan also like he was a sponsor or like sponsored by Nike with Air Jordans, and there was a controversy with that too. So I just think it's like an interesting company to study because a lot of their messaging has been so progressive and so radical as far as like 90s American norms are concerned.
Right.
But they're still a capitalist giant.
Right. And then the role of Serena Williams, going from the cat suit to she came out the next day in the tutu, which was really awesome.
Exactly.
But she's one of the greatest tennis players of all time.
Absolutely. The greatest. Don't play.
No objection. Back into the sport after having a child and now dominating in the US Open.
Not just having a child, like going through like hell, like a C-section and a hematoma, and like not being believed by her doctors, as like many Black women who go through that are. Like she went through hell and back and is still kicking ass.
And she talked about a little bit of postpartum, didn't she?
Yeah, like postpartum depression, which like that's a struggle.
Yeah, absolutely, for women who often have a baby births. and then you are left with a bunch of emotions. So
hormones are a bitch.
But yeah, I mean, to see her speaking out about that, appearing in Beyonce videos and just really transforming from just an athlete to being
an icon,
major cultural icon.
Absolutely. It's amazing.
Roger Federer is not a
he got beat by some nobody.
He's not a cultural icon
but
the way that Serena Williams is.
Did you guys see the difference in pay that he gets paid versus Serena? It's ridiculous.
I mean, I'm disappointed but not surprised.
Not surprised at all, but I didn't know it was that much. I can't remember the exact figures, but it was an enormous amount of difference.
Whom's the hell are you, Roger Federer?
Right?
Venus Williams and Serena Williams, they deserve all of the money. You don't.
Very hardworking women.
What's Venus up to? I haven't even heard anything about her recently.
Venus, she lost to Serena in an early round of the US Open. I mean, she has 7 Grand Slam titles, so she's an amazing tennis player.
Yeah.
It's just that
she's just no Serena.
Yeah, exactly. Serena is a beast. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, all of this is really amazing. Not it's not in terms of sports so much, but in terms of just the cultural significance of where we're at.
They're using their platform to get their message out, to stand up for what's right and what they believe in. So
yeah, I really appreciate
respect.
I really appreciate that. Like Nike is just like, oh, the NFL is not going to give you a contract. Well, we will. We don't have anything to lose.
And we're going to play these ads during the NFL games.
Suck it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the NFL's coming back.
Sports season. It's fall.
I know you're a huge football fan, Kelley.
No, I just mean it's fall in name only, and I'm really sad about it.
We had a lot of protests during NFL games last year. We don't yet know if we'll have the same situation of Trump screaming at football players. He's screaming at everybody else.
There was a protest. Okay, maybe that's not the right word. There was an instant of law enforcement refusing to do something with the national anthem because of the potential of a protest by NFL players.
There have been a lot of instances where, cops have refused to provide security for...
It wasn't security. It was something related to the national anthem, which I thought was really funny. It's like you're protesting a protest.
They wouldn't like hold the flag.
I think it was something like that. Yeah.
No, not going to hold this flag because we respect America too much.
Oh, jeez. I can't.
Yeah. So we're back. We're back in football season. We'll see if Trump screams at
the football players again.
He will.
More. He's been screaming at everybody else. 2 major bombshells this week.
Treason in my administration. It's more likely than you think.
Bob Woodward's got a book, and he's quoting the White House chief of staff who says that Trump is an idiot.
Who's Bob Woodward?
That's a good question. But also Omarosa has a book too, and she's also quoting a lot of things that were said in the White House. So this is becoming a pattern.
A lot of books, a lot of ways to make money.
Are you really asking who Bob Woodward is?
Yes.
Bob Woodward.
I'm allowed to not know who everybody is in an administration.
Washington
there are too many things to keep up with.
reporter
Okay.
who busted Richard Nixon and caused
okay.
Watergate to happen.
A big deal.
Woodward and Bernstein, Bob Woodward.
How old am I, Gabe?
Younger than me.
Exactly.
So this guy's got some street cred.
Yeah.
And now he's got a badass book quoting both the White House Chief of Staff and the Secretary of Defense, who have each been questioning the president's mental faculties, wondering, not even wondering, just straight out saying, Trump is not qualified to be making the decisions that he's making.
We knew that before he took office. This
is
not news.
We knew that. Everyone else did not. Who voted for him. That's the problem.
I'm just upset that if he's ever impeached, he's still going to go down as a martyr in a lot of history books, especially since a lot of them come out of Texas. I'm just a cynic, okay?
Written by Ted Cruz's friends.
Right. Paid for by the friends of Ted Cruz.
Okay, you listen, like, you guys think this is funny, but like there's a lot of text. It's not funny.
Sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying.
There are textbooks in Texas that like talk about how good masters were to their slaves. Like this is an old school controversy. Like textbooks come out of Texas and they are not good, and they are in our classrooms. Well, kids don't get textbooks anymore.
Yeah. So. Unfortunately, they're lacking those in class. Yeah. But also, I'm one of those parents that tell my kids the truth, and they're going to know the truth. And if you're finding something in your book that's not the truth, exactly, we would clarify.
We're the same way. I just worry about my neighbors and their kids.
Exactly.
This is why we need quality education in all areas, because it's like you're going to teach your kids good, but what's your neighbors doing?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's better, textbooks that haven't been updated since the 50s or textbooks that have been out since 2015 but are not really the most accurate to begin with? Right.
So we saw this, the information about the Woodward book, and apparently he's got audio tapes up and down. Omarosa, like you said.
I mean, if he's a Nixon guy, he's all about the tapes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. He's familiar. Omarosa said that she had, a bunch of tapes, and we saw those for like a 48-hour news cycle, and I haven't seen anything from them since.
Right? What happened with that is
she's a reality TV star in the news as fast as she's out.
Also very close to Trump for a very long time.
Right.
I don't know what closeness to Trump means.
I mean,
you don't want to know.
No, I don't.
And then just last night, yet another bombshell, an anonymous op-ed in the New York Times by someone claiming to be a senior staffer in the White House.
I'm part of the I'm part of the resistance. Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I think everybody's sort of looking at that with, taking it with a grain of salt.
Right, absolutely.
Some people are saying that it's Pence because they use the word Lone Star in it.
Lodestar.
That's not is that a word?
It's Pence's safe word.
They said it was.
Yeah.
Why you gotta go there?
Lodestar. Come on, this word is not a good word.
Excuse me, Dan Savage. I need your input here.
So Pence says Lodestar a lot, and so now I'm just going to keep repeating Lodestar. And that was a word used in this column, and everyone was saying, that's a really weird word. Only a weird person would say it. Maybe this was Mike Pence.
I love how people think.
It's because he says it a lot in his speeches. So
Lodestar.
Maybe it's his speechwriter.
I do not listen to him enough to even know.
People asked that. They said, this might not have been the vice president, but it could be somebody high up in the vice president's office.
Right.
Who has been actively, because it is clear that while Trump and Pence are both evil and have evil agendas, they're not the same agenda.
Exactly.
And they're
not the same kind of evil, but they are.
In a sense, yeah. But there are some differences.
Yeah. I mean, and
Pence's evil is more civil. And that's really what it comes down to. It's like, you're not the resistance. You're just a slightly more civil version of the same kind of evil.
And the op-ed talked about Trump's amorality.
Sure.
Which is kind of how the Pence people view the Trump people.
Okay.
It's Mike Pence wants to completely remove women's rights, and they would never pay off porn stars for affairs. They would completely just restrict their rights and throw them in jail.
It's different means to the same end. Get out of my face. You're just co-opting a term that progressives have tried to use, and now it's meaningless.
Right. But Trump's completely losing his mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has lost his mind.
Just 2 sheets in the wind crazy.
Yes.
I don't know that phrase, but I like it.
My friend says it a lot. It's funny.
Just treason on all caps with a question mark as a tweet.
Treason?
Treason? In my administration? It's more likely than you think.
Yes. In your administration.
In other news, in the crazy world of the White House administration.
And today's disappointing news.
The Kavanaugh confirmation.
They started Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
Yeah.
70 people got arrested on day 1.
Some of which are our friends.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys keep throwing them out. There's more there, and they have right to be upset as we do. You know, there are so many things being hidden. Most of the senators in that committee were only given about 10% of the documents.
I think it was
for
even
Kavanaugh,
less than that.
9 to 10%, I believe, and none of the rest of these documents are being shown.
Yeah,
right.
There's like a whole missing gap from like the Bush administration too. And
yes, when he served in the White House during the Bush administration, and we have reason to believe, obviously, there's a lot being hidden. So
yeah, Patrick Leahy. I'm never going to pronounce that name right. It don't matter if it's Ohio or somebody else. I cannot pronounce that name. He was talking all about like this huge scandal during the Bush administration that Kavanaugh was like a key part of. And like, I had never heard about it.
And
yeah, like it was something that I'd never heard about. And like how Kavanaugh,
I wonder why that is.
Kavanaugh had like a key role in like some of these appointments too. And it's just like, I don't know enough about it to really understand his tweets other than, oh no, that's probably bad.
Right. They needed to delay the entire process. There was 100,000 documents that weren't publicly available.
Right.
The night before, the first hearing, they suddenly released 42,000. So reporters were scrambling to go through 42,000 documents and figure out what's going on.
Obviously not going to happen.
Right. There have been major questions about his role with waterboarding torture, with racial profiling, which was one of the main things that Cory Booker brought up in the Senate committee just today.
Yes.
And the Republicans in the committee were threatening to actually kick Cory Booker out of the U.S. Senate.
What?
Saying that he had violated rules by releasing documents that were labeled as classified, confidential.
He
but there
definitely
were emails
said
revealing,
I did. He said, I will reveal, I will stand by these charges. If you feel like I did this, charge me. So he will face expulsion because obviously he feels like what he's doing is right for the American people. That's the point.
So
we agree.
We have a treasonous president, but Cory Booker's going to get kicked out. And like, that's what it really comes down to too, is like, we have a treasonous president in office. Should these confirmation hearings be going through at all?
Right.
No.
Well, as soon as, Booker said, hey, I'm doing this and I don't care what the rules are. And if you're going to bring charges, bring it on. All of the Democratic members of the Senate said, hey, I'm going to release the exact same thing. If you're going to charge him, you got to charge me.
Exactly.
Kick out the entire Democratic, like all of them.
Right. So, Cory Booker's saying, bring it on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's certainly one way to bring on revolution is just kick out half the people in the Senate.
That would be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then also there's an article in Huffington Post because Kavanaugh's stance, which we've seen before from other, especially conservative justices, when they're asked about abortion, when they're asked about Roe, they say, well, Roe is settled law. That, there's already a decision on this. This is the exact same thing we saw from Neil Gorsuch. It's the same thing we saw from like John Roberts back in the day. And so Huffington Post has emails that have been released. I guess they were released to the New York Times, saying emails from Brett Kavanaugh from 2003 saying that judges could overrule Roe.
Yeah.
And, the court does have the opportunity to cancel out Roe versus Wade.
I mean, this is not a surprise at all.
Yeah, no, he's saying out, to the American people what he thinks they want to hear, but behind closed doors, he has a whole separate personal agenda, which we already know. That's why everyone is going so hard to block this confirmation.
And then Kamala Harris, the senator, is she from California? Am I wrong with that?
Yeah,
she is, and she asked an amazing question.
She did. She asked him, "Can you think of any law where a male body is like
being restricted or having
by the courts?" And he's like, "No, I can't think of any." Like, she's gonna go hard. She's one of the best prosecutors in the nation. Like, if I like Kamala Harris, she's great.
Yes, California. Sorry, I was thinking of Barbara Boxer, who Senator Harris replaced. So yes, you were correct.
Yay. Got that going for me.
Yeah. It's the question of, okay, Kavanaugh, you can say that this is settled,
right?
But do you feel that it was settled correctly?
Exactly.
And would you use your power to reverse course?
Exactly. And that's what it boils down to. He can say it's settled, but do you feel it's correct? And that was one of the points that was brought to him. And, I don't know, he has this like little smirk / laugh thing going on. It's kind of evil and disturbing.
It's a lot evil.
And it's just like,
he also refused to shake hands with a parent of like a dead child from Parkland. And the lady behind him may or may not have been like flashing a white power symbol on camera.
They said that she's going to be his law clerk or was or something like that. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Conspiracies everywhere. I used to be really into conspiracy theories in middle school because I thought they were really fun. And then I realized that some of them are real and it's upsetting.
A lot of them are real. I've been a conspiracy theorist for a long time. Fun fact about me.
There's a lot that we still need to have answered about Kavanaugh's record.
As long as you don't believe in Pizzagate.
I do not.
Okay, good. I was like, Vashitta, no.
Come on, I have more sense than that.
So if Kavanaugh gets confirmed, which he shouldn't be, there's enough out there to raise enough questions over how appropriate he would be as a Supreme Court justice.
But the chairman is hearing none of this.
Right. But he's disqualified as a candidate.
What is like the length of time that like on average it takes to confirm a Supreme Court justice?
I cannot answer that. I don't know.
I think we're right at the, it's a 2 to 3 month process.
Okay, so it's not likely to happen before Election Day, at the very least.
I think we're looking at an early October. I think they're probably going to vote in a month.
No.
Why, do you have something else to do? So if Kavanaugh gets confirmed, if Roe is overturned or
doomsday.
gutted.
Don't say if, when.
The question over abortion rights goes back to the states.
And it's not even if when it's overturned. It can still be in existence and be meaningless. It's meaningless for millions of patients around the country, right, as it stands. Like if there's clinics like 500 miles away from you, then like that's not accessible abortion care as it stands. Like
right.
We're already in a crisis mode.
Right. We need the courts to be a backstop against the restrictions that get passed by state legislatures, get signed by governors, the administrative things that John Kasich's been doing. And we know that Mike DeWine would continue.
Boo.
He's pledged to sign a bill banning abortion as early as 6 weeks without exceptions.
They got some new signs at his office, so it's not looking like amateur hour anymore.
I've seen that. Yes.
That building looks so evil.
It's very weird.
Jordan asked me yesterday, was that building burned? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, for those who haven't seen it, Mike DeWine's office building in downtown Columbus looks kind of, it looks like something out of the Addams Family. It's weird, very weird, dark,
like stone. You guys have money.
Well, they just recently, like within the last few days, got like actual campaign signs that are in the window. Before that, it was all like handmade, like very, very amateur signs. And I'm just like, oh, honey.
Right. So we're going to do our best to make sure that everybody that works in that office is unemployed in a couple months.
Yes.
What do we got going to make that happen?
So many things. This weekend you can come hang out with me at Hot Times. I'm gonna be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're gonna be collecting petition signatures and just enjoying the hot times. And by that I mean like hot, rainy weather, because that's apparently what's on the agenda. Next Wednesday, come hang out with me in Dayton. We're gonna be knocking doors, talking to voters. The weekend after that is my birthday weekend, so you won't see me then. The next day we'll be knocking doors into the 22nd of September. And
we got events before then.
I'm talking about my events. I don't care. And then the 26th, I'm gonna have a phone bank here in Columbus. So, what else is going on, Gabe?
Okay. So there's an event supporting Women Have Options. This is just a general event. It's not electoral. It's the Columbus Taco or Beer Challenge at the St. James Tavern on September 12th.
I have so many happy hours this month.
Yeah, it's happy hour month.
It's my birthday. Come get a beer.
Yeah. September 13th. Your counterpart up in Cleveland has a phone bank.
No, that's not the Akron. That's the Cleveland one. You're right.
Cleveland
18th is the Akron one.
Cleveland phone bank, September 13th. Also in Cleveland, also on the 13th. We might want to move one of these two things. President Barack Obama is coming to campaign with Rich Cordray and Betty
Say that
Sutton
5 times, Gabe.
in Cleveland, September 13th.
Yeah, we might want to move that phone bank.
Cleveland's got a lot going on next week. On the 18th, there's a phone bank in Akron. So everybody should come out. Akron is kind of one of those key communities around Ohio.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of organizing in Akron and in Toledo and Dayton this fall.
Yeah, so if you're in those areas, hit us up. September 18th will be an Akron phone bank to talk to pro-choice voters to make sure they are ready to vote. September 19th is the Repro Health Happy Hour
in Cincinnati.
Yes. Urban Artifact.
Yes.
Haven't been there.
Oh my God. It's one of the co-owners is the organizer for Planned Parenthood in Cincinnati, Stephanie Coleman Baker. Her husband.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, her husband's a co-owner, and they make a lot of like wild beers. Like they do like a lot of wild yeasts, and like they're all weird beers. Like they do a Pickle Goes in August and September, but it's a lot of sour.
Pickle Goes?
Yeah, they do a lot of sour beers.
Like whatever, anything goes?
No, a Goes is a sour, like a kind of it's a sour beer, but it's a little salty too. So
and pickly.
You guys gonna say it tastes like pickles then?
I assume so. I haven't had it. If you like pickle juice, it's probably right up your alley. But like sour beers, I'm really into sour beers, and if you like vinegar, you will generally like sour beers. And I know that sounds gross.
I've never had it, but I'm willing to try it. It sounds good.
They have like a key lime Goes.
Oh, I love key lime.
They have like a lot of berry beers, like a lot of tart fruit beers.
Berry beers.
Yes. They have like spiced beers in the winters. It's in an old church. Like in the basement of an old church. Like the sanctuary is old and it's cool. It's like an abandoned church. It's now a brewery.
Okay.
The day after our happy hour in Cincinnati, I'm going to be doing my first lunch and lobby of the fall at the University of Cincinnati with the Women's Center.
Nice.
Yeah.
September 20th.
Yes. There's not a Facebook event for it yet, but it's actually kind of like a primer. They're going to be celebrating their 40th anniversary this fall, the UC Women's Center.
Excellent.
So we're doing a panel that day on like feminist organizing, feminist activism, like as a career. So it's going to be me and Stephanie Baker and like a couple other folks who do this work full time.
Okay. That sounds great. September 22nd, back up in Akron, is the We Belong Here brunch and day party. This is an event being put on by Rep. Amelia Sykes,
yes,
Representative Stephanie House,
and I think Golonsky too, right?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Representative Tavia Glonsky, and then Representative Janine Boyd.
Mm-hmm.
They're sort of the core of the
Right.
Black women in the Ohio House of Representatives, they've formed an organization called We Belong Here that started out really as a reaction to Representative Sykes being denied entry into essentially her own office, her workplace, by Highway Patrol, who didn't think she looked like a state legislator.
Correct. And so I'm happy to see it's actually going to be going to. I keep forgetting about my ticket. I'm glad you mentioned it because I will go do that now. But I'm glad that they have taken this and kind of brought it to the attention of everyone actually who is a Black woman in the legislature in the state. I mean the country. So
Jordan talked about wanting to go to that, but we're canvassing in Dayton that day. I was like, you can go. I don't care. She's like, no. Like, okay.
She's an amazing intern.
She's so great. If anyone needs somebody to do some awesome organizing professionally, I got an intern for you. She's my intern. You hire her full time.
So that event, the We Belong Here brunch, is Jilly's Music Room in Akron, September 22nd. September 25th is the Columbus Repro Health Happy Hour at 8 and Sand. What's 8 and Sand?
It's a new bar that is owned by a former bartender at St. James, Andy.
Oh,
yeah, he's been like a long-term bartender at St. James, and now he owns a bar. And this is going to be his first happy hour, I think.
Nice.
Awesome.
He's also one of our clinic escorts.
Ooh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
September 27th, the Dayton Pro-Choice Happy Hour at the Trolley Stop.
Yeah, so since we're doing so much organizing in Dayton, I figured it'd be fun to do like a find out what's happening and have a few drinks because after everything that's happening, we need them. But also, we're interested in getting a reproductive health happy hour like as a regular occurrence in Dayton, and I figure this would be like a good kickoff event to let people know what it's about and see if there are some folks interested in helping us organize those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. That takes us through events in September. Plenty of opportunities to go out and knock on doors and make phone calls for the election in all parts of Ohio.
Too busy in September. Don't worry, October's coming.
Right. Information for all of these is available in the show notes or
on our Facebook page.
And that's all we got time for. So we'll see everybody
next week.
Bye.
Bye.